Get going, all right? I'd like to call to order the Silver Lake Regional High School School Committee meeting, September 14th, 7 o'clock. We are being taped and broadcast. Thank you very much. We're going to begin this evening with a public hearing regarding the authorization of Silver Lake Regional School District to convey drainage easements to the town of Kingston. And I am going to ask Maureen Thomas, please, if you wouldn't mind, giving us an overview of the project so that if there are any questions, et cetera, we can address them.
Should I come up? Or?
Sure, wherever you're comfortable, wherever you're most comfortable.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Paula.
Oh, welcome, welcome.
And thank you, everybody, for putting this on your agenda and working with the town of Kingston to try to get this easement underway. I'm Maureen Thomas. I'm the Kingston Conservation Agent, and this is Jay Tellerman, Town Council, accompanying me. And essentially, we're here to see if the school committee will vote to approve a special act as written on the agenda. And I'll go ahead and just read it. It's an act authorizing the Silver Lake Regional School District to convey drainage easements to the town of Kingston. Section 1, notwithstanding any general or special law to the contrary, the Silver Lake Regional School District may convey to the town of Kingston temporary and permanent easements for the purpose of constructing and maintaining drainage infrastructure to capture and treat runoff that may enter into the Jones River. Such drainage infrastructure to be installed on land identified as Kingston Assessor's Parcel at Map 8, Lot 40. Section 2, the act shall take effect upon its passage. The school committee will vote on this act after the public hearing has concluded. So the Jones River Watershed Association was really the initiator of this easement. They've been working for a really long time to improve fish passage, water quality of the Jones River, to do an overall Jones River restoration. The town of Kingston, I think, has always been in support of it and wanting to work with the Watershed Association to get this done, but we weren't really committed until we got a grant in 2015 where acquiring this easement was required as one of the deliverables of the grant. So we're a little bit late in getting it done, but we did commit to doing it, and so really hope that you can help us to improve the water quality by allowing us to have an easement to construct stormwater best management practices on this lot, to take stormwater from Lake Street, to remove pollutants prior to the stormwater discharging to the Jones River.
Okay. Maureen, would it be beneficial at all, since we are broadcast to the public, would it be, and I see you have some plot plans, would it be beneficial at all to perhaps describe for us and maybe show for the public record where exactly we're looking to grant an easement?
Sure. I don't have an easel. I don't know if... I guess what I'll do is show the locus map first. It's really hard to see. I don't know if the camera can zoom in, but this is essentially, it's right off of Lake Street. Probably can't really see it very well, but the location is across the street from the ball fields. So when you're heading down Lake Street and you get just beyond the ball fields, the river runs under the road, and the lot that is owned by the school district is just before you get to the river. It's adjacent to the river. So, and basically what we're looking to do is install a type of constructed wetland. It's a gravel wetland. And those types of wetlands are vegetated, so not only do they capture pollutants, but the plants that are planted in the wetland also uptake pollutants, and it ends up looking really nice, as well as doing pollutant removal. So, I'm not sure if the camera wants to capture this plan or not. I'm sorry that I do not have an easel, but essentially, we could probably post these on our website, but I also could forward them to anybody who wants a copy, anyone who's a member of the public. I think the school committee has received copies already,
Yep.
but I'm happy to share them with anybody. I could provide this copy to you if you'd like. I have another one back at the office, and I could get more from the consultant who did the drawings.
You actually, I think you did a very nice job of describing where it is as well. I want it in front of the public and on
Sure.
record as well, so.
Sure.
But I think you did a nice job of describing exactly where it is and where it's flowing.
Okay.
And it's a really finite piece of construction, and obviously when the act would give you the authority to convey the easement, and the easement itself, and we work with Fred, of course, would hone in on that actual description in reference to a plans that would either be on file or recordable, depending upon what they may be, so that this isn't a broad-based easement to do whatever we want. It's going to be tied to this very specific set of infrastructure. So it's really tight and unmistakable as to its limitations.
Excellent. I'm going to throw it open to the committee for any comments or questions, and then anybody in the, joining us, any questions as well. Ed?
Just a ballpark thing. Do you think we should put the map up close to the camera?
And have them do one shot of it?
Just hold it, yeah, Mike's advice. It's okay.
I think he zoomed in. He zoomed in.
Zoom in on it?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay, I'm sorry. I just figured
Thank you.
maybe somebody could want that, might be enough for them to see. Sorry.
Oh, no, and any question is perfect. Anybody else, any questions, any thoughts? Anybody visiting?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. If we have no more questions as a committee, no more discussion, can I ask somebody to make a motion on this for us?
I'll make a motion that we approve the easement language to go to the state legislature that was read into the record.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay, excellent.
Great. So we'll just work on, Fred and I can work with Joy on the proper way to get it up to, I guess, Representative Coulter.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and he'll process it from there.
Great.
Terrific.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Excellent,
time
thank
this evening.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
The
it.
status.
We will.
will.
We will.
I'll forward it to Mr. Coulter tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let him
Thank
know.
you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Have a great night.
Thank you, you too. Okay, did you want to take something else down of order? Sure. All right. If the committee does not mind, I'd like to take one more thing out of order. We have a teacher visiting with us tonight to present an idea about taking an out-of-state field trip. So if you don't mind just taking that out of order as well, please. Thank you. The floor is yours.
So if it's all right, I'd just like to
Oh,
introduce,
sure.
and then I'll introduce. So we do have a teacher, Kathy Benash, is with us. She's our science teacher in the 8th grade, and she's coming forward with a field study that she wants to do. So I just kind of want to just talk about it just a little bit, and then I'll introduce Kathy. So a couple of quick things. So she wants to, there's a STEM, we have our STEM science class in the 8th grade. And part of the advanced research project that they're doing in the 8th grade for our STEM science class will connect to the NASA Kennedy Space Center. And she wants to have them do the advanced research here in her classroom and then connect it to hands-on project activities down at the Kennedy Space Center. So classroom learning to hands-on project-based, and then come back with a presentation which some of the kids would then come in and show you guys at the completion. She was very excited about it. She brought it to me. I thought it was such a powerful experience that I immediately had a conversation with Joy. Julie and I were like, oh my God, this is great. Let's move this forward. And she's here to talk about it. So what she's looking at doing is going down in March. So it would be March 15th. It would be a couple days before a weekend, and then a day or two after a weekend, she would come back. So she's looking at March 15th to the 19th. They would fly out of Boston, Logan. We're looking, and she was looking at one of the Disney hotels to stay down there. And then she's also reached out to the Kennedy Space Center, and they have some really incredible things for our students to actually participate in when they're down there. And it's just an awesome, awesome course. So without further ado, I'll have Kathy Benash talk a little bit about it.
If you ask him a question, I probably won't be able to hear. He'll probably repeat the question for me. After years of with cheerleaders, I'm like deaf. Anyway, the genesis of this whole thing was I am a cyber mission judge with the Army. And so they invited us, those of us who were judges, they invited us to various things. And my uncle, who worked at NASA, was kind of trying to help me. He recently passed away, so it's kind of like I've lost my contact there. But anyway, so that was the genesis of the whole thing. We got invited to see this rocket get launched and all these other activities. So I talked to Jim about it, and he obviously got very excited about it. So what we're going to be doing, if we get the chance to go, is there's actually a mock mission. There's a space training. They get to work with real microgravity materials. They get to participate in the trajectory chair. We set up an after hours thing, dinner with an astronaut. They get to actually participate in all kinds of educational activities with them. And then the other one is a salute to science, where they get to attend a briefing to learn about important science concepts related to space exploration in real time. What are we doing right now? They get a private presentation with a NASA astronaut. They engage in hands-on team engineering challenges, and they get the free run of the whole NASA area. They get allowed to go to all these different things. So I'm excited about it. I hope that you see the value of it, and there you go.
Mark?
How many students are we talking about going? Is it the whole 8th grade class? Open to the whole 8th grade class? I should put it that way.
Well, I have 25 steps.
So are we just talking about the 25?
Well, let's do the 25, but
It's open to the
ideally-
STEM program, which is our STEM program, which we have 3 sections across the 8th grade. So it's open to the STEM program. It's an advanced research project, and that's how it's presented.
prior to them going, I do a thing called a Genius Project every year. And prior to them going, they will have, that particular group of kids would have to take their Genius Project, and it would have to do with space.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a lead up into it. It also is, after they come back, they would have to now take what their project was and kick it up a notch. And then we present it to the parents in June. So we have a Genius Night at my, that I run at my school for them to come in, so.
Mark?
Can I sit down?
This is a group
No, it's
of,
okay.
this is eligible, 25 students are eligible to go.
There's roughly 78 students that would be eligible to go. There's 3 sections of the STEM science program in the 8th grade, so it's roughly 78.
But in school committees, we just worry about the kid that wanted to go that didn't get to go.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh, so yes, so we have fundraising, as we've done in past trips that are like this. So we have multiple fundraisers with opportunity to support students that may struggle financially but want to go. So we certainly take care of that on our end.
How much does it cost for the trip?
So for the transportation, hotel, and flight, it's going to be somewhere around $450. And then we're going to be working with the Kennedy Space Center to decide how much for the group, for the different activities. But for the 2-day pass for the Kennedy Space Center, it's going to be approximately $60, but then there's a couple add-ons that Kathy had talked about in regards to, sharing dinner with the astronaut, talking about a simulated space mission which they'll participate in, So they're actually participating in some things. And then we asked for a little bit of flexibility. We are going to go in March, but we asked a little bit of flexibility on the dates in the sense that in our connection with Kennedy Space Center, if they are having a launch within a couple of days when we're thinking, we might adjust the date so we can include, because they said that is just an awesome experience that you would want our students to have when we're down there. So if we can include an actual live launch, we're going to do that as well.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
motion to approve the field trip as described. Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Great.
Comment?
I'm sorry?
Comment?
Sure.
Sounds like a great opportunity for our kids. Thank you so much for putting the time and resources into this program.
Ed?
No. Question. I'm all for it. Is the plans for the flight stuff already arranged? I never go out. I always go out. I'm just asking. You know.
Yeah, so what we do is, we've checked multiple times now to just check on the rates for the prices. So I've checked just recently, as of 2 days ago,
Yeah.
to see what the prices were going down there, to see if they've changed yet, and they have not. So what happens next is, now that it is approved,
Right.
Kathy will go out, find out
Okay.
what students are interested, and then we'll start the booking process.
I just saw it that I literally see it being.
No, prices change and adjust, and, we want to be mindful of that, but I did double check just 2 days ago, and they're still the same as they were when we had presented and talked to Joy about it, so.
I was just.
Yeah, no, of course.
It wasn't, no, you should be doing that. It's not-
No. There's definitely to make sure that.
Sounds impossible. Sounds totally.
If you would coordinate an adult field trip down there for this, I would go.
Can you?
Available.
How about that? Wait a second.
Volunteers are gratefully
Oh, that's great. What a wonderful, I mean, it sounds phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Oh, so it's good luck with your fundraising and plans, and keep us posted. We can't wait to see you folks afterwards.
I can't wait to have the kids come in here and show you some of their presentations.
Yeah.
When they're, they have so many, it's in there, but so many really incredible things that they're going to be experiencing down there. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, and I give all the credit to Kathy. What a wonderful job she did putting it together, and her creativity is amazing in the classroom. And this is just one example of her creativity. And it's clearly connected to the 8th grade curriculum. So what a powerful message to have the kids be able to do what they do in the classroom, then see it in real life, and then be able to come here and explain through their eyes what they saw to you guys. So it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, folks, approval of minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
I can get it to number. Why would because of number?
I think we're still good. Eric's leaving. Yeah.
So, I have a question.
4, 6, 8, 10, 11. We're still good. So just trying to figure out, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11.
10, 11. Yeah, we're still good.
We're still good. Yeah.
Because I got a call.
Okay. Oh, all right.
I was just concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else accessible?
I don't think so.
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think you.
Then I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Take care.
Sorry about that.
Hope it all works out.
No, I'm sure it will be okay.
Okay. Minutes. Folks have had a chance to look at them. If I could get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of the regular meeting on Thursday, August 10th as presented.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Any abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. How about executive session?
I'll make a motion that we approve and hold
Please.
the minutes for the executive session on Thursday, August 10th as presented.
Okay. Can I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Thank you. Okay, moving on to our special committee reports. Silver Lake Educational Association.
I know, we moved back here. Well, you were right there.
Make us all turn around.
I know. So for those who don't know me, I'm Kim Morset, I'm the SLEA president. And I apologize, I don't have much brain power left. We just left from open house, and it was great to meet the students' families who came in and introduce ourselves. And one thing that the SLEA would like to do is acknowledge gratefully Michaela Gale in the position of the principal, and just say how grateful we are and excited we are to work with her in the capacity of bringing spirit to the Silver Lake High School and middle, well, just the high school. I mean, we've really been working to build a community base. We've always had it here, but we have kind of a new life and something different. And I think the kids are settling in, and we're happy also to be working with Catherine Pratt, who's the new assistant principal, and we've seen them in the halls, and it's really bolstering, I think, the relationship that we have with our administration, and we're looking forward to a positive year. I met briefly the assistant superintendent, and we haven't had much interaction yet, but I'm sure we will. So we're excited to get started, and I'm apologizing that I don't have anything else available, but you'll hear from me as the year goes on, I'm sure. So, thank you.
Good start. Thanks, Kim. Okay, administrative review, we talked about the need to schedule a meeting for that, so we will schedule that. CTE,
Elliot and I will be working on a meeting prior to October's school committee, so we'll have
wonderful.
a report in October.
Thank you. Chairman's report. I don't have much to report other than, and I may put you on the spot, Elaine, to talk a little bit about the budget advisory meeting that Kingston hosted. I was, at the last minute, unable to attend, so I do apologize, though I've gotten feedback from some folks that did attend. Before you share any thoughts on it, I have to tell you again how invaluable that meeting and that information sharing and that discussion that you folks host really is. So I want to just thank you for the efforts that your town puts in to try and make your entire town budget process go as smoothly and transparently as possible. That's just a side note I had to share with you.
Basically, Kingston has a budget advisory committee, and what that committee is representatives of the Board of Selectmen, the Town Administrator, Capital Plan Committee, and representatives from Kingston School Committee, and the Kingston's representative from the Silver Lake School Committee. And it's basically a brainstorming meeting and discussing what parameters we want to see going forward for the FY19 budget in this case. There was discussions, and basically the Finance Committee made a recommendation that personal services increase no more than 2.5%, and expenses, we say, are level funded, which means zero increase. There was a discussion about that, and budget season, we get to that time again. So what that would mean is expenses couldn't increase. We did take a vote with the understanding that it was just an opinion, an advisory vote. The plans that Kingston plans on going forward with is what we typically do every year. We ask, and the town administrator has already stated this, and the Board of Selectmen will discuss it Tuesday night. But based on the town administrator's response, it's budget season is normal. We're going to ask all departments to put together the budget that you feel your department needs. And then at the end of the day, like we do every year, you put it all together and you see what it falls out. And there's a lot of different parameters that go into making the budget. It's revenue, it's expenses, and it's what's needed to run the town. So it's a normal budget season with a recommendation to try to curb expenses, which I think, I know from the town of Kingston and being here many times, everybody looks at the bottom line and how best to provide the best services we can for the least amount of money. So We're going to talk about it Tuesday night again, get a full board's discussion, but I would expect, based on the town administrator's recommendation, it'll be status quo for our budget season. And at the end, we'll see where we fall out. And if adjustments are needed, we'll make them, but again, that's just a suggestion and a recommended approach.
Wonderful. And that early direction and thoughts is much appreciated, because the earlier we get started in this process, the better the process goes. I think as you outlined so well in your, budget guidelines and timeframe that you shared with us last year, so thank you.
One thing the advisory committee did say, it was a unanimous decision on what they proposed. They were worried about the budgets being able to be sustained over the years with the increases. And we all know that it's going to be a very difficult road going ahead, being able to sustain everything. So they really want us to work towards keeping that in mind. So it could be a difficult budget season, but we'll all do our best as we always do, and hopefully it will work out.
Any other questions, comments? No?
No. Thank you, Elaine. Great summary.
Thanks.
Okay, legislative agent, I know Jason's got a lot to share with us in this. Welcome.
Nice to see you all.
Jason, welcome back. Welcome back from your couple of months of RVing.
Missed you.
I've been busy since I've been back. Tuesday night, I was actually in Central Massachusetts with MASC's legislative committee, and we've been talking about some of the legislation hearings that have been occurring up at the State House and making recommendations for how MASC should side on those movements legislatively. I'll be reporting back to you once that becomes public. Right now, what I can report to you is that the state revenue projections continue to fail and fall far short of what they were anticipating for revenues. Interestingly enough, when the legislators came back into session, they started spending some of the cuts that Governor Baker had put into place. So even though we're having shortfalls, now we're spending money that had been cut to try and protect ourselves from that inevitable outcome where we end up on the upside down at the end of the year. So the fiscal situation at the State House level is not very great. If anybody's been paying attention to Washington, you probably have a case of whiplash. I'm not going to bring up any of the Washington stuff right now. There's nothing really to report on. Just keep your eye on the Supreme Court. They might be moving towards talking about allowing union busting in our state, basically allowing open shops for teaching. So that might be something that comes before the Supreme Court in the next session. Finally, pro-charter group from New York State. They influenced our Question 2 ballot initiative. Just got one of the largest campaign finance fines in history for not disclosing who was putting money into the coffers. One of those people was actually on the Board of Education at the state level. So we have some very influential people who were very upset that the pro-charter initiative fell through. So now they're pushing a new initiative. It's Charter School Light, and you're going to hear some words coming out in the next few months. One of them is called School Innovation Zones, which already exist, but they're looking to expand them. And another very nice sounding phrase is an act to promote autonomy and success in schools. If the legislation goes through as being proposed right now, we would lose our ability to have local oversight of our schools potentially. We would lose oversight of the budget process, collective bargaining. It's a very, very scary time right now in the state of Massachusetts. I never thought Massachusetts would have to worry about public education, but Governor Baker, Secretary Pizer, who is well known to be connected to the Pioneer Institute, a think tank for charter schools, they're doing everything they can to privatize our schools and to break up public education in Massachusetts. Please keep your ear to the ground. Coming up at the Resolution Committee, I participated in that this summer. You have appointed me to be your representative at the Resolution Committee, but I need you to know what the resolutions are so you can give me guidance how you'd like me to vote. I'll go through them as quick as I can. Resolution 1, we're looking at changing the enrollment date that DESE uses to calculate how many students we have Currently, it's at the end of September. We'd like to move it to April 15th so we get a more accurate number and we can budget more wisely. We'd like to reform the circuit breaker. We'd like to get fully funded circuit breaker up to 125% of extreme cases. We're also gearing up to potentially file lawsuits against the state for unfunded mandates and not fully funding Chapter 70. So several of the resolutions talk about that. We'd like no funds for private education coming from state coffers except for special ed cases. We would like no federal funds to go directly to the state Board of Education. We'd like them to filter all the way down to our classrooms and our teachers. We'd also like the Foundation Budget Review Commission to be looked at, reconvened, so they can come up with new initiatives since it's been so long since they've last seen each other. And finally, we would like to talk about protecting students covered by the Affordable Care Act and Medicare. And many of you seem to be quite shocked when I told you that some of our students could be at risk from the Affordable Care Act being withdrawn. Some of these students receive monies towards their occupational therapy, physical therapy, special ed services. We would like to see that protected, and as a caveat in that resolution, the monies to go directly to the school districts where those students originate from. Maureen is always very, very quick to remind us that those monies currently go back to the towns. So those are the 7 resolutions. I know that was very quick. It's on MASC's website. You should have all received an email today if you're on MASC's server list. And Division 3 should be having a dinner this fall. If you'd like to come and hear it from the resolution committee directly and ask questions, I'm hoping you can give me some guidance at our October meeting of how you'd like me to vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was actually well stated, Jason. Thank you. Negotiations?
We're currently working on 2 different contracts right now, the support staff negotiations and administrators contracts. We'll be talking about that in executive session.
Okay, thank you. PAC?
So we haven't had a meeting with PAC yet, but I have great news to give to all of you. This year is the year where PAC has extended its day with students by half an hour. So our most needy students from our 3 communities who qualified for those services are now getting services from the most qualified staff that we can send them to, and in very capable hands for an extra half an hour every single day. That's 2.5 hours a week, 10 hours a month. You add all of that up, these kids are benefiting greatly. So that's the good news from PAC. We have our first meeting beginning of next month, and I'll have some great information hopefully on their start of school year for you.
Well, great. Thank you. Policy?
No meeting yet, but we do need to schedule in the near future.
Okay. Revolving funds, we talked about this a little bit earlier. We need to schedule that meeting. Safer?
We had a meeting this evening and discussed several of the issues. The school sewer project that's going on by the ball field is ongoing. They had run into a couple of problems I think I addressed last time. But currently, I guess one of the light poles has to be replaced due to a contractor error. And the electricity is shut down out there until they get that resolved. And the guardrails are going to be replaced this week, and the stairs we're searching for a vendor to provide those. They have some preliminary information on those concrete stairs that'll be replacing, not exactly in the same area, but at least be going down into the field from where they were before. Additionally, we talked about initial discussion on our capital plan for next year, made some recommendations to the administration, and they're going to bring those back to us. Our next meeting is scheduled for June.
June?
Not June, I'm sorry, November. I'm reading my notes, I'm sorry. Something else. Wow. Yeah. We're good for that.
How did the budget go, Mark?
Our next meeting for the SSFR, for the facilities meeting. There is a master plan input that we've had since June. that I don't know if you want to talk about that at this point. The Kingston Master Plan asked us for some input, and I want to thank the administration for their adding some numbers. Everybody, I think, in the school's been involved, middle school, principals, staff, a lot of the account numbers. You can see from the handout that you have, the yellow that was added to this document. This is a strategic document that the town of Kingston puts together every few years. Some of the information in here is very important for people that are coming to our district and looking at whether they want to put their kids in our schools, as well as some of the items that we have to face, some unfunded mandates, and some of the issues with charter schools that we've discussed already. But if anybody hasn't had a chance, I would like to get this back to the Kingston Master Plan Committee so they include it in their master plan for the next 10 years of what they think Kingston's going to do and where it's going today. And I think it would be great if we could vote on that, to submit what the administration has put forward
To be included
in this
in.
document.
Yeah. Can I ask one question, Mark? I apologize. So this isn't the first time Kingston's done a master plan like this?
No, I was thinking in the early 90s, there was a master plan initiative, and they created the first one. And I was on the planning board at that time. And then we created an implementation committee that implemented a lot of the ideas that were in the master plan. Mostly zoning changes and some bylaw changes and some of the other initiatives. But the education element is more of a teaching document to allow the whole, it goes as a whole. The education element, though, is more of an informative document. But there are some issues that I think the administration very well addressed. Future needs for an admin building, some of the other things that were spoken to very well, as well as some of the great initiatives that we have in our schools that people can follow through with by reading this document. So, this is not the first one. I think this is the third one, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken,
All right.
that they've done.
Thank you. Did the committee get a chance to have this beforehand?
I did. I sent this out and shared it as a Google Doc last week sometime. I don't remember a day. So they have had it.
So I'd like to move that the committee vote, if we can, move this document to be presented to the Kingston Master Plan inclusion in their master plan.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll forward it tomorrow.
Thank you. The only other thing I had is we have continued and met with a company that does solar canopies over our parking lot. They have come back with some preliminary proposals of a 2-megawatt size system. That kind of system, it represents a substantial amount of the electricity we could use, but we are checking right now. We are not able to plug the system into the school because the power purchase agreement that we have that goes back with to the Dartmouth site accounts for 95 to 98% of the energy we use. So the process would be to put canopies over our parking lot, lease the space to provide a revenue stream to support education. And currently, Fred is looking to see if we can, in fact, do that. He's got some homework to do, tie it to an educational use. They will be providing, as part of the program, monitoring on the solar that would be available to our students to see how much electricity is being made and how it's being made, and the accounting would be described, and they'd understand the money part of how solar benefits the school through that too. But we're ongoing with that discussion. We should bring you something in October on that.
Okay.
I hope.
Wonderful. Thank you. School start times. I'm going to probably say without Maureen here, there's...
No, we had a meeting with a first student to talk about the bus lines and how it might affect school start times, and they were not really saying it really wasn't able to do that unless we came up with two completely different bus schedules for the high school and the elementary school, and that would be a budget buster, definitely. The conversation turned more into how we can make the bus system more efficient and how we could cut some times, maybe do some degree of changing the times of the schools a little bit. They're going to be exploring that. They're looking into some software programs. Edulog is one of them. There's a couple other ones as well that maybe they make things a little bit more efficient, just cutting off minutes, basically, the bus schedules. Right now, they are doing crosstown buses, Plimpton servicing Halifax and all up to. They're looking at more of that and more group stops. One of the things I asked us as a school committee, if maybe we could ask our population to support having group stops instead of individual pickups at houses. That would help in scheduling a little bit and also cutting the times of the trips down as well. So they asked us as a board, maybe we could have a positive vote on that, just as a means of communication with the parents, just that we're trying to do everything we can to cut down costs and make things a little bit better for them as well. That's about what that was. Anything else on that, Joy?
No, good summary.
Can I ask one question regarding the...
Just one. And
I already asked the question, didn't I, by asking the question? Do they have the ability to share with us where they would propose group stops?
Each year they change, so it would be relative to where the students are that year. So, it's sort of a moving target. Part of it involves where the kids are located, if the children have to cross streets, if there's sidewalks available, if it's a safety issue. In some of the areas, like in Plimpton, there are no sidewalks, so they have to cut across lawns or walk in the street, and if you have snow, it's obviously a little bit more of an issue. So they've worked on some areas. What they'd like to do is if we were to, as a school committee, their suggestion was the school committee took a vote to basically support the concept of group stops when feasible. And then that way the bus company can use that, the school committee is supporting us trying to save time. That, maybe we could save 10 or 15 minutes if we didn't have to start so early with some of the buses that are very far out. In some areas, there cannot be group stops, but there are some areas where they have been able to establish group stops, and it has saved some time on some of the buses. So it's really a time saver. We can't figure out how to save time without spending a lot of money. So this was the only suggestion they were able to come up with. But, they have been able to establish some group stops in areas they hadn't previously by working with the families and the parents and the kids.
Who defines feasibility?
I think they work...
I don't want to give...
No,
Halifax is not what Plimpton, we don't have sidewalks.
Yep, no, absolutely. It a little bit depends on the neighborhood in the area. There are some neighborhoods where it seems to work better. People are more amenable to it.
I know a couple, yeah.
And then there are some that they are not as amenable. So
I'm just concerned it's going to be group stops no matter what.
No, they were very concerned about that as well.
Okay.
Really, we're very up on safety and knowing that this would not work under many of the neighborhoods that we service. They did not propose to do anything at all to make their job easier, per se. Just that if we could do under the proper places and circumstances, that if a group stop was proposed, it was a good one to do, that we would support that concept. Okay. Not as a rule or anything, just support the concept.
I'd just like to clarify that we as a regional school system are required to provide the education, the transportation, because we get funding for it.
That's correct.
Correct. And the second part is that as we go down, if we were going to make an education decision not versed on transportation, there was a substantial change in cost based on the shared bus that we pay for versus individual bus. Because those buses are able to make 2 runs in the morning. We get them for not exactly half, but
close
for the school.
Yes.
But the last part is that when we designed the school and the layout, we did not design the school for drop-off. So if your decisions make an impact and people say, I don't want to go to the shared stop, I'm going to drop my child off at the school, the traffic that we see around 7:15, 7:20 now is just going to be a small part of that. It would be a significant change. So we would like to encourage everybody to continue to ride the bus, even if we have to go to some shared stops. Thank you.
Are we looking to make any kind of,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we, as a school board, to support the concept of group stops where feasible to help the feasibility of a better bus system.
And actually, if that gets voted, I would have one more comment.
I have a comment, too.
Fine?
Go ahead, Mark, you go ahead of me, I'm
I
sorry.
have comment/question. Does the district approve the bus routes before they get sent out, or is that totally first student?
The bus routes are put together with schools.
Christine's in charge of buses, excuse
As
me.
well as working.
Sorry, Christine.
As well as working
Sorry.
with first student. So
Okay.
based on the shifts in population, where students are that year, they try to come up with the best opportunity to make this work well for all.
I'm just concerned we're giving away control right here. That's my concern.
With the group stops,
Yeah.
the
No?
impression I have is that they're willing to discuss any of them.
Okay.
It's just that if they're stopping at 25 separate houses, that's going
Oh,
to take a lot
I get it.
longer
Trust me, I get it.
than 5 group stops.
No, I live it. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It wouldn't change the process, which I think is basically your question. The process
okay.
would remain the same.
Your turn, Paula.
And I guess I'm trying to figure out how to articulate my concern. I have a little bit of concern kind of giving the leeway and not really understanding how it's being developed. I think I may have heard, some areas are more agreeable to doing something like that, and then maybe some other situations aren't. I don't want, and my kids are older, but if I had kids that are still taking the bus, I don't know that I'd want to have a group stop because I'm not complaining about it, and some other folks are still having, the kids picked up at the houses because I'm being more vocal. It's probably a control kind of thing. I guess I'm struggling a little bit with saying, yeah, kind of do that, but not really understanding what kind of groupings we're looking at.
2 comments on that. The first one is, they did not bring this up, we did.
Yeah.
First student did not ask for group stops.
Okay.
This came out as a discussion during the whole process and was put forward by myself and actually I did Dejanay as well. So it wasn't coming from them. And they were just asking for some support as a concept if they were looking for a group stop and parents and people are concerned that how did the school committee feel about that, and just as a concept, not giving any leeway to them to go ahead and just make all these arbitrary group stops or
Okay.
anything. Just as a concept that, that if it can work, let's try it type of thing. And in the proper circumstances where safety is taken into consideration, where neighborhood political dynamics are taken into consideration, because that comes up a lot as well. It's not going to work everywhere, and even some places where it would work, neighborhood dynamics won't let it work as well. So just as a concept and support, if they can do it, to help us decrease some of our costs and increase the efficiency of the timing, we support it conceptually.
Okay. And I apologize, were you making a motion before?
I did make the motion.
Okay. Did we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Treasurer's report.
So I'd just like to publicly, unfortunately, he left, but publicly thank Ed. I did privately thank him for taking over the duties of treasurer while I was away, especially for closeouts. So thank you, Ed. There are many warrants circulating around tonight, and all of them are in front of me. Thank you very much for giving your attention to the warrants. 13 of those warrants totaled up to $1,181,757.77. There were 4 payroll warrants circulating for a total of $1,032,127.30. And the grand total of all the warrants tonight was $2,213,885.07.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Union 31, no meeting.
We had a meeting in August?
Wasn't it right before?
Oh, you're right, it was.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. All righty. Okay. District business. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about our opening day. We had a great opening this year. I was thrilled with the way it went. I had many positive comments from people. Some people who never comment or are necessarily are supportive or like something were very supportive. So I was I was thrilled that it touched many hearts. I'll tell you a little bit about the opening. We had the band play, and they played as the teachers walked in, which was great fun. So I really thank Greg Doobie and John Lay for giving up some time over the summer, and all of our students who came in and certainly welcomed us warmly and loudly, which was great. We then had them come in and they played a song for us, which was fantastic. We have very, very talented musicians in our district. I then did some opening comments, and I'm going to give you just a very small piece because my focus this year was on continuing the social emotional learning and the importance all of us play in supporting our students. So my talk was on teachers as everyday heroes and the importance not just teachers but everybody in the school system plays in supporting our children. So I told a story which I have to admit I have not told my son, but 500 people now know a story of when he was 5 years old. He is now 27, so hopefully he will forgive me. But it was a story of when he was in kindergarten. And my son was pretty shy, little guy, and I was sort of hoping to bubble wrap him before I had to send him to school because I was very concerned about his ability. And he was small, you know, one of those kids. He had been kind of sickly when he was little, all of which he has well gotten over, by the way. But he started kindergarten, and he went to kindergarten 22 years ago when there wasn't a lot of differentiation. So everybody sort of was fed the same thing. That wasn't really a key word at that point. And they taught you to read by giving you alphabet people. Some of you, well, actually, I'm probably the only one in here who knows that. But there was a time when you would have a letter, and it would be introduced, and the kids would sit, and they'd get a piece of paper, and they'd color the letter, and then they had different, very lockstep activities to do. My son was left-handed. He didn't like to color. As a matter of fact, he hated to color, but he always followed directions. That's all fine, except the only problem was my son entered kindergarten reading chapter books. So it was sheer torture for him to sort of go through this process. On this particular day, they were doing the letter Q, and they had up on chart paper the letter Q. And so they asked the kids to raise their hand and say every word they could think of that began with the letter Q. And so the kids were all raising their hands, and my son, again, was quieter at that time and normally didn't volunteer, but he did. He raised his hand, and he said, Quetzal. And the teacher said, you know, no, honey, that's not a word. That's pretzel with a P. And again, he wasn't argumentative, but he said, no, not pretzel with a P, Quetzal with a Q. And so, of course, all the kids are laughing, you know, and again, it's, you know, one of those times. And the teacher's trying to sort of get control back, and my son puts his head down and is trying not to cry. And at that point, all the teachers said, you know, because we've all had that kid sitting in our class that is upset by something very devastating to them. Well, the paraprofessional in the classroom had noticed my son, had seen him sit and actually read books, and had had conversations with him, and although she didn't know the word either, she suspected it could be a word. So she went over, took his hand, walked over to the dictionary. Adam spelled the word for her. She looked it up, and sure enough, it was in the dictionary. Quetzal is a bird. It's a bird with very long tail feathers. It lives in the tropical rainforest. Many of you know I happen to be very fond of birds, so needless to say, I read lots of bird books with Adam, and he knew the word. And it may seem like a very simple thing, and why would I tell 500 people that story without asking my son if it was okay, by the way? Because on his college application, one of the questions was to talk about an act of kindness, and that's what he wrote about. So 13 years later, he remembered what it felt like to be that little 5-year-old and have somebody believe in him and take the time to recognize him and to hold his hand. And I think it just really points out how everybody really plays an incredible role in children's life, and you may not think that small act of kindness matters, but it really does. So now the entire Silver Lake District now knows what a Quetzal is. So it's very important to know. The thing that was really fun was National Geographic has this monthly science magazine that we get. I think it's called National Geographic Kids. They actually did a feature on Quetzal. So one of the teachers sent it to me, which was sort of hysterical. But as part of talking about everyday heroes, the librarians, and it was a theme I had talked about or thought about last spring, the librarians were kind enough to put together this video of our students. It's about 4 minutes long that we showed, and it's our kids and talking about how teachers are their heroes. Thank you, Michaela.
You have the capacity to change the world.
My teacher is a hero because when I was sad and I had anxiety, she would always help me through it.
My teacher is a hero because when my grandpa died, I was still feeling a little sad and I wasn't really listening. So my teacher helped me by getting over it while still remembering the things he did for me. Thank you.
Teachers are heroes because they make my life easier so I don't struggle. Teachers are heroes because they're fun.
You stand up when heroes needed.
My teacher is my hero because she helped me develop my love of reading. My teacher is a hero because I couldn't see the numbers on the board, even though I had glasses. She moved all the desks and put me in the front, and if I still couldn't see, I could move up. Thank you. Dear teachers, thank you for everything you do for us, such as teaching us, making us feel special, and helping us through our bad times. This is why you are our heroes. You show you care. My teacher is a hero because he made a subject fun like science because we did terrariums. My teacher is a hero because when I was in 4th grade, she told us we could sign up for drama. She thought I would like it, so I signed up. She made me realize I love theater. Thank you. Teachers are heroes because they help you do math, they help you do reading, they help you get through problems, and they have fun activities. Math is the best teacher ever. First, she taught me all these great things in math and all, but she also showed me I have to go ahead, and that's all that matters. And that everybody makes mistakes, no matter if it's in school or not. She is also very sweet and nice. She's the best. She's my favorite in everything. She's truly awesome, and I love her so much. Teachers are heroes because they teach you how to read and be smart and learn how to be like good listeners. I think teachers are heroes because they help us learn. They help our brain healthy, and they keep us safe.
You make a difference.
My teacher was a hero because when I was having trouble with math, she helped me figure it out. Teachers are heroes because they teach you how to behave and teach you how to do math. I think teachers are heroes because they help each another to learn and be stronger at other things. Teachers are heroes because they help you learn and help you read.
You can transform life.
So teachers inspire me to do better in life.
Teachers are everyday heroes because through their passion in what they do, they inspire us to be passionate in what we do.
The teachers in the English department are always there for you, and they're everyday superheroes, so thanks to the English department.
Silver Lake teachers for everything you've done for me over the last 15 years. You guys have been great. Everyone has been great. Teachers inspire me, and then I sort of take that inspiration and use that to try to inspire other people and pass on the passion that they instilled in me. So, a teacher does a lot for not only the student, but everybody in the community and everybody the student touches as well.
Teachers do so much work behind the scenes that none of the students actually see, whether it's going home and working or coming in early. We really appreciate all the work they do.
Very special thank you to all my librarians who were kind enough to put this together, which is Vicki Wright at the middle school, actually was the one who put it completely together for me, Linda Redding here at the high school, Jerry O'Reilly at Dennett, Denise Renard at Kingston, Jackie Tebow at Halifax, and Colleen Mead at Kingston Intermediate School. So appreciate everybody taking the time to put that together. I think it means a lot to the teachers to hear from our own kids where they fit in. So that was day one. And then on day two, we had an absolutely fantastic presenter. His name is Dr. Stephen Lane. And he did a presentation about balcony people. And he was absolutely wonderful. He had us laughing and crying, and when I turned around and looked, it was a question of whether people had tissues because they were laughing so hard or tissues because they were crying. And his presentation again fit in, and really the theme worked, was about balcony people. And the concept is that we all have people that we see as our cheering squad. They live in the balcony. For many of us, it may be a grandmother, a grandpop, a mother, a father, sisters, brothers, whatever it may be, but teachers are very often in people's balconies, and he really stressed the importance and how much the impact a teacher can have on somebody really believing in themselves and their capacity, and to really encourage all of us to be the balcony people for our students. So it was a great opening. I really appreciate it. I think it was pretty invigorating for all the teachers. I think I received I received a tremendous amount of emails from people that basically said it was the greatest opening ever, which is great, because it is something that really sets a tone for the year. And I really want to continue to focus on the impact we all can have on our students and the importance of the role of teachers and everyone that touches our students, paraprofessionals, because everybody can really make a difference. So the only other thing I wanted to mention is, as part of opening, Jill joined us, thank God, and she's wonderful. And so this is day, I think I just counted on my fingers trying not to be obvious, 13 for Jill. So she's been absolutely fantastic. She's hit the ground running. She's phenomenal. I didn't want to ask her on day 13 to do a presentation, but Jill is astounding. So Jill already put together a progress report of some of the things she's done in the last 13 days. So that's included in your packet. She has really been going out. She's been meeting everybody. She's been setting appointments. And I know she's going to do a wonderful job fulfilling that role. And I'm extremely happy she's here.
As are we. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. New business?
Oh, did I see the middle school sang? I'm sorry. I wanted to acknowledge it. I'm so sorry. I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but after the video, the middle school sang. The middle school students sang a song. I recognized Sandy Boynton, who coordinated having the kids come in. They did an absolutely fantastic song called Family Tree, and it was wonderful. Again, sort of fit right into the theme. And the kids did. They sort of acted it out on stage and sang, and were great. So I love to have the kids perform. I think it says a lot to the teachers that the kids are coming in on their summer break to perform for us, to welcome us back. Sorry.
No, perfect. That was important to know. Thank you. New business. Seeing none. Old business. Seeing none. Principal's report. Ms. Gill.
Hello.
Your inaugural report.
Here we go.
No pressure.
Thanks. I first just want to begin by saying again how thrilled I am to be in this new role. And I wanted to start by sharing with you the new staff members that we welcomed this year. As you know, Catherine Pratt, who has been teaching social studies for the last several years, is now our interim assistant principal. Taking her place in the classroom as a long-term sub in the social studies department is Mr. Jeremy Rogers. Tracy Ficacello is joining us as our new computer science teacher. Dylan McIntosh is our new tech ed teacher. John Morisseau joins the foreign language department and is teaching Spanish and French. And Jim Hurlbert joins us as a new teacher in metal fabrication. So they all joined us for new teacher orientation on August 25th. I'd like to thank First Student for helping us provide a district tour for all of our new staff members across the district. They went to all of the schools and got to get a sense of all the downtown areas, just so they could have a little bit better of a sense of the district from just their small school. We welcomed our freshmen, the class of 2021, on August 18th as part of our freshman orientation. This is a really neat event that we host each year that is really teacher-driven and teacher-run. So several of our staff members come in over the summer to put this together, along with student volunteers. Our freshmen get a tour of the building, they get a copy of their schedule, they try out their locker combination 1 or 2 or 10 times to figure out how to open it. And then we end the activity or the event with an ice cream social. And we distribute t-shirts to them that have our Silver Lake Strong emblem on them. Parents attended the event as well. We gave them an overview. The PTO spoke and met with them, and then we had our Chromebook distribution. So it was another great event that we had this summer. In terms of the school opening, we had a very enthusiastic start to our school year. If you take a look around the room here, you can see our theme this year is all in, every day. We started off the year with sort of a pep rally staff meeting, and I'd like to thank our cheerleaders who also gave up some of their summertime. They came in and greeted us all into this room with pom-poms and band music playing, so it was a fun start. We also had our first annual Chalk the Walk. You may have noticed it walking in the main entrance. Not all of it has washed away yet from the rain, but just about all of our teachers participated at each of our entrances to the school the night before opening. They wrote inspiring messages and welcoming messages to the students, encouraging them and welcoming them on their first day. And I'd just like to say how proud I am of the staff and how enthusiastic they've been. They're really setting the tone for our students this year, and the momentum, we're keeping it going, and we're all in every day. So I'd like to thank them for everything. Our guidance department has been busy hosting our parent orientations in addition to our freshman one. We had our senior parent meeting last week. Tomorrow we'll be welcoming our 10th grade parents for an MCAS overview, and then next week we'll welcome our junior parents just to talk a little bit more about college readiness and what to expect junior going into senior year. Some other events that we've had, today we had our back to school night. Last week was our senior barbecue that we hold each year. We had picture day on Monday, and next week is our spirit week. So there'll be lots, if you happen to be in the building or nearby, you'll see some of us in some pretty fun outfits getting into the spirit. And then one other event I'd like to share is some involvement that our staff and students have had in providing hurricane relief, both for Hurricane Harvey and now most recently Hurricane Irma. In particular, our history department has asked to be able to donate some of the textbooks that they have. There's a school in Texas that is seeking assistance. They have lost several things, including all of their textbooks. Our history department has close to 120 textbooks that we have not used for several years because we've been able to replace them, and now we have the Chromebooks. The book company does not offer any buyback programs to be able to take them, so we would like to be able to do a staff Jeans Day fundraiser to offset shipping costs and to be able to send those books to a school who could use them in Texas. What's next? I have a handout for you. Mr. Garofalo helped me put together with some AP highlights and SAT highlights. If you take a look at that, 240 students tested over 21 exams last spring. Our average score is 3.3076, which qualifies us to remain a College Board School of Distinction. So to earn that rating, we have to continue to increase our enrollment and number of test takers while holding on to that minimum of a 3 average score. This year, our SAT scores, as you can see, for the class of 2017 and 2018 are in that 580 to 570 range. The class of 2018 will have another opportunity to take the test this year, which will certainly impact their average. And we do have one new AP course that we're excited to offer this year, Computer Science Principles, which is being taught by Mr. John Towner. And lastly, if you look at the other handout we provided, A new program that we'd like to bring here to Silver Lake, the Laker Lecture Series, which sounds more exciting than it might seem. This is a series of workshops and presentations that we'd like to offer throughout the year to our students, our staff members, our parents, and community members at large. It's sort of a community outreach program. You can take a look at the different topics. We have one or two just about every month of the school year. Topics range from depression, drunk driving. We're bringing in the documentary Screenagers, thanks to the support from the PTO. Other topics include domestic violence, cyberbullying, social hosting laws, skincare safety, and our goal with this program is to provide some support outside of the academic day, means to connect with our parents and our students as well as community members to help them provide resources or answer questions, but also just to offer some informative platforms for them. So we're hoping that this program will grow each year and that word will catch on and maybe other organizations will reach out to be able to become a part of this. And every single presentation that we have aligned for this year is of no cost. So, and that's all I have tonight. Lisa?
Do you need a vote for the history book?
Do we need to surplus them?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to surplus this 120 textbooks to go to the Texas school.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Thank you.
Can you show that summer? The summer?
Yep, thank you, yep. I skipped over one thing, thank you, Joy.
No worries.
Can I pull off that I'm a rookie, just one?
Absolutely.
I get one mistake?
Only tonight.
All right, well, that's one.
Can I just comment for one second? This is a very wide range of topics, which is wonderful.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really very diverse.
Thank you. And like I said, we're hoping that it will grow and other programs will, we can connect with other programs and bring other ideas in. And, some might be catered just to students, some to parents. Some of these are, we recommended maybe just middle school or high school age students, but some are for all ages. So we hope that this continues to grow. So thank you. One thing I did skip over, thank you, Joy, for reminding me, over the summer, we offered a summer enrichment program. And this is our second year with this, and some of the classes included creative writing, there's a theater class, as well as a financial literacy class. And they were featured on PAC TV, and I have a video that I can show you as well if you'd like to see that.
It's like 3 minutes, I think.
What type of literacy was it?
Financial literacy. Yeah, so these are classes that students are choosing to come to, and I don't want to give too much away because it's highlighted in the video that PAC TV created. But it's a neat program that's continuing to grow, and I hope that we can do it again next summer. So, great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd just like to comment, the Kingston Business Association is working through the guidance department to offer some financial management kind of courses too. Looking forward to helping.
It's so important for the kids to understand.
Absolutely.
It's so important. They can't always learn it from the adults in their lives.
No.
Either, so.
For the second straight summer, Silver Lake Regional High School is hosting its summer enrichment program. The program gives students a chance to take part in classes that they may not have been able to fit into their schedules during the school year. We dropped in to get a look at a creative writing class and a theater rehearsal.
The summer enrichment program is designed to have kids want to come to school and choose to come to school during the summer rather than the typical dynamic, which is that students feel have to about school. We have to take these courses. We have to get this many credits. We have to pass MCAS to graduate. And so my thought was change the dynamic, create something where students are actually choosing to come here in the summer when they do not have to. And that sort of changes the culture a little bit. Today we have students who are engaged in a creative writing workshop with Mr. Rick Stowe, and we also have kids doing a summer theater intensive experience with Ms. DePasqua and with Mrs. Bates.
Our programs here are so large, so when we do the musicals, it has to be 60. And it's also very competitive. We have, a couple hundred students that are involved in music and drama. So it's tough to get a lead role. It's tough to even get a first role. There's just so much competition. So what's really great about this with a cast of 11 is we can give everybody a part. Everybody gets a chance for a speaking part. We can really work with the actors where they're at
if you sign up for this course, you're guaranteed to get some kind of role and you're guaranteed to get some coaching in that role. Whereas with the school musical, I can't necessarily guarantee that for every single kid because there's so many of them. For the students who don't do this on a regular basis, hopefully they'll choose to come out and join drama or music or get more involved with the programs we have. The other thing is sometimes for the younger students, it's a great building block to build some confidence and to build some stage time before they audition for the main stage shows next year.
We've had a fantastic summer. We are meeting for 8 hours here in this creative writing class. We have worked on our own stories. We have worked on some writing prompts. We have had some great conversations. I'm going to miss these kids. I'm a little disappointed I only get to spend 8 hours with them. By tomorrow, our final day, they will have at least a rough draft of a story to prep for a contest in the upcoming academic year. And one of the deals that I made with these kids is that they produce something, they can come to me during the year and I can look at it, give it a final critique so they can submit this story to the contest.
Ever since I was little, I had a huge imagination. So a big part of taking this class was learning how to put my ideas into words. That's mostly what I'm taking out of this. And also, I think there's an important part about learning how to say something without saying it.
I usually just write random stories or like little short stories because I get bored and I just enjoy it. I took this class this summer because Tony wanted me to, and Mr. McSo is one of my favorite teachers, so I figured it would be a lot of fun and it would help me expand on my writing.
Well, I absolutely love Mr. McSo, so I expected the best and I came out with the best. I loved the fact that it was very chill, so informative, but really relaxing, and we had a lot of jokes too.
I'm hoping it sparks them to continue writing for the summer. I hope they enjoy creative writing. For those who haven't taken the class at school, I'm hoping to see them on my roster in the upcoming years.
We sort of sold it as an opportunity to maybe take a class with a teacher that you like but haven't fit in your schedule yet, or to take a class that you might like to explore but it doesn't fit in your schedule. You know, sometimes you've got kids in the career and technical ed program, and by law their periods are very dictated. They have to shop certain hours, so they don't get to take some of the extracurriculars. Or you have kids who, you know, have 7 AP classes, and those are really kind of tightly scheduled so that they don't get to take, say, a theater or something. So we kind of sold it as, you know, either a teacher or a class that you haven't gotten to take yet, give it a try.
I just wanted to reiterate again that this summer enrichment program is completely teacher-driven. So it really just shows again the great lengths that our teachers go to continue to make those connections with our students.
Great.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it is. Stephanie Ritchie originally came up with the idea 2 years ago, and it's just been building, and I just foresee it going farther in the future. You know, the first year, like anything, it, you know, had a little bit of growing pains in terms of getting the word out and helping the kids understand it, but this year, the growth has been pretty astounding. So I really appreciate her dedication and effort and everyone that's been a part of it.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Do you have anything else to share with us? Did that wrap up your report?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very, nice job. Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Nice job. Very nice job.
Now our
Made it through the
veteran.
first one.
All right.
That's step one.
That was good.
How'd you do, Coach?
Jim, please.
Thank you. So just to continue on the out-of-state field trips that we have coming up this year. So again, we'll have the Great East Music Festival that will be on Friday, June 1st, where our middle school band and honors chorus will be participating in the Great East Music Festival. After leaving the middle school, they will perform. The judges will give each group an award based on their score, and after the performance, they then move on and go to Canopy Lake Park. So that is an out-of-state field trip, so I'll need a vote on that. Do you want me to continue on with these, and then we'll do...
Do them at one? Okay.
Do them at once? Okay. So then we have the Providence Bruins, which is an annual thing we've been doing for the past 6 or 7 years now. It's where the honors course, I shouldn't say honors course, the chorus class, they volunteer their time, they practice, and they go down and they sing the national anthem, center ice, in front of about 10,000 people. It's really an awesome experience, and they're planning on doing that Friday, January 19th. Our Latin teacher, Miss Farah, is planning a trip to Brown University for our Latin students to take part in the annual Latin Carol celebration on December 4th. And you have the handout for this. It's the New York City overnight trip that they had done last year. They came back and did a presentation for us. They're planning on going again this year on May 23rd and 24th, and the handout's in the packet. And that's it for the out-of-state field trips.
Okay.
Move that all the, go ahead.
Nope, you did it. Go.
Move that all the, approve all the trips as presented for the middle school calendar years.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. So on to summer programs. So our summer enrichment camp, which is now off on its third year, went great. So we have the summer enrichment camp. So we do a camp for math enrichment, so students to have an opportunity to really stretch and expand their math skills in the summertime. They really focus on proportionality, and their scores increased from a 63 to a 72%, which is a 9% increase in the summer camp, which was really good. I want to thank Tracy Fari for doing an excellent job this summer. We also had our summer enhancement camp. That's to support students in the summertime so that they don't regress. So students that may have some reading issues, they also help them with their, not only reading, we have our certified reading teacher there as part of the camp. They also help them with their summer reading. So when they come, they're not behind, they're ready to go, and they got their summer reading done. So I want to thank Allison Pride, Dave Plana, Kathy Spicer, and Marilyn Collins for doing a great job. We had over 20 students attend the summer remediation, and our reading went from 71% to an 84%, which was a 13% gain in reading comprehension. And descriptive writing went from 52 to 62, and the area of mathematics went from a 70 to an 81, which was an 11% gain. So again, I want to thank our teachers for working with our students this summer. It was a great job. Professional development this summer. We had over 16 professional development projects that happened over the summer, from health, science, technology, special education, math, ELA, social studies, Spanish, art, Title I. And I just want to thank all the teachers for coming in this summer, working very hard, and working with our curriculum design, scope and sequence, technology, project-based learning. They really did a great job, so I want to thank them for that. Some of our activities I want to talk about. So we also had a drama production this summer. We've been doing that for about 3 years now, too. I want to thank Carol Beck. I mean, she's just phenomenal. She does a week-long drama camp, and then they get up on stage and they just put their hearts on the stage, and awesome. And she also does the drama club for us throughout the year. She does a production in December, and then she does another one in the springtime. So I want to thank her. We had over 60 students participate this summer in that, and she does a great job. So I want to thank her. On to open house. So we had open house from 9 to 12 and 5 to 8, where we had our students coming through, grabbing their schedules, checking their lockers, and a redesign of our open house, which we did last year and this year. This is our second year that we did it. We have our teachers, they give a presentation about their team, an overview of expectations, they help the students with their lockers, and then we also have a presentation in our library where Vicki Wright, who Joy talked about earlier, does a presentation on how parents can access the software, PowerSchool, the portal. A lot of our teachers use the Google Sites, things like that, and she really goes through and does a nice job, talks about that. And we also have our peer leaders in that day, and they help give tours to kids coming in the building and talk to parents about things that are happening in the building throughout the year. So the open house was well received. We had over 400 families come through. It was really a great day. Joy came and participated during the day with us and walked through and saw some of the kids giving tours and things like that. So it really was a great day. I want to thank all the teachers for their hard work, and I want to thank the parents for coming in and participating in the open house with us that day. It was a great day. So on from open house. So first day of school, Joy already kind of talked about the opening of school, and I just want to say it was really exciting to see the kids come in, smiling, excited to be there, and come back and fill the halls with their energy. It's always great to have that come back. And you can see it in the teachers' faces as they're in the hallways, and you can see it in the kids' faces as they're walking through the hallways. Today we had Amanda Fowle come in. Amanda Fowle is the Assistant District Attorney. Something we started last year. She does a student safety presentation with online things that students need to be aware of. She did an awesome job. It's a very powerful presentation. So she did that today with our students. And then on the 26th, she'll be coming back and she'll be doing a presentation not only for the parents of our building, but for all of our buildings. So that's something that Joy makes sure that she sends out to all the parents of all the schools so that they come and have that presentation. Because there are things that obviously parents don't see. I see it sometimes because as a principal I'm looking at something and I'm like, what's that on a phone or something that they're using. But she does a very nice job elaborating on that. Like for instance, there's an app that's called Calculator Plus, for instance, and she kind of talks about these apps with the parents. It looks like a calculator. You just go on the app, the calculator pops up, it looks like you're punching in the calculator. But if you punch in a certain code, behind the calculator, pictures show up. So they have all these apps now that kids can use to hide things, to put things places, and if you're just looking at it, it looks like a regular calculator, it acts like a calculator. So she really does a great job elaborating, and it's very insightful for parents to see so that we can be the parents and see what's going on instead of the students or our children telling us what it is, which sometimes it's certainly better for us to know and how to manage and monitor that. So she does a great job with that. So she'll be back on the 26th.
That's September 26th?
Yes, it is.
And was that with 7th and 8th grade today?
That was with 7th and 8th grade today. So we had the 8th grade presentation, and then at the completion of that, the 7th grade presentation.
I sat through one that was hosted a number of years ago now, and it's very eye-opening, and I'm sure it's exponential now since I sat through one, what's available and what's out there to watch for. As a parent, I sat there very surprised, and it was eye-opening, and it was a learning experience for me. So I highly recommend that presentation.
I absolutely agree, because she'll go in and, like, when she talks with the students today, she'll say, okay, you're going on and you're accepting a friend of a friend. And you think that that's okay, and then you talk to that friend of a friend over a period of time, and then you think that they're your friend. But you've never met the person, and you don't know who that person really is. Now, that friend of a friend, which you didn't know in the beginning, and she talks about this with the kids, never checked out who that person was. They just accepted. So you have one student that just accepts because they want 100 followers. And next thing you know, you've accepted a predator on to your site. And you don't know what that predator is going to do with that information after that. So she did a very nice job elaborating on what to be careful of and what they should be looking for. And I think it's important information for our kids to know.
So I think it's a great presentation. I've been to her presentation as a parent, and I think the first year that you did it, it was just for the parents.
Yes.
So I'm really glad to see that that's been added for the students. I think one thing that, as a parent, I would like to see might be to have the presentation for the parents first, so that when the parents know that the students are having the presentation, when the students come home, they sort of have an opportunity to have a conversation about it. I know it's hard to schedule things like that, but having, 2 7th graders, now I know they've gone to this presentation, but I don't really remember what it was about. So I'm not sure that I feel like, if I say to them, well, what was it about? They're going to be like, yeah, they're not going to tell me. So it would be nice as a parent to be able to have that conversation, sort of knowing what they heard.
That's actually a good comment, because we normally do these on the same day.
Right.
To make it powerful. What happened is that Amanda on the 26th, they pushed a case back So there was a continued case, and she called me up and said, Jim, I'm so sorry. I pleaded in court not for the 26th, but I got to move the student presentation. And I said, oh my God, I mean, all right, so what are your dates? Well, I can come for the students in November, or I can come September, whatever it is. I said, not November, because that's too late.
Yeah.
I want to make sure they get the message earlier. So come September, which is today.
Well, I
So-
know it's hard to schedule, but it's just,
Yeah.
just a comment from
It's a very good comment.
facilitating that parent-student
Correct.
conversation.
We do, and I did, and it was, and it splintered off, no more than.
I did, it was.
Yeah.
Very
And I will
articulate there.
Doesn't mean it could splinter off again. We hope
Best laid
not.
plans,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, and I'm glad for your feedback, and
It's a
there were
very good
parents that
thought.
came out and were enlightened by some of the things that she talked about. And it's good, and she changes it a little bit every year too. So her student presentation, she added a couple things this year. It was really powerful, and I talked to Mia about it afterwards, and Mia immediately started talking to me about it, and then she realized I'm dad, and says, oh, well, Dad, I got things to do. I'm like, all right, Mia, thanks for your feedback. But she's funny like that. So anyway, that's Amanda Fowle. We also, one of the things we're doing this year is we have an annual movie night. Student council added a cookout to that movie night. So on the 15th, we will have a cookout movie night. It is free for all of our students. It's one of the things where they want the kids to all come back, be welcome, do something kind of exciting together, things like that. So Mr. Canetta and myself will be on the grills tomorrow, starting around 6 o'clock. And then we have a movie under the lights, and it should be an exciting time. So that will be our night tomorrow night. And one of the other things student council is doing is that they're also supporting.
Jim, what was the movie Jim asked?
Oh, the movie is Daddy Daycare. Daddy Daycare, come on. So it'll be funny. The kids pick it. It's something that they, obviously, you want something that's relatable that the kids want to come and see. So we let the kids pick the movie, and student council did that. They're also supporting the hurricane effort, and they have connected with a middle school down in Texas, and I sent an email blast out about that, and we're asking for donations when parents come in over the next few weeks, and on the movie night for them to bring that in. So again, one of the themes was community close and far, and it's really such a positive message. And I want to thank our student council advisors, and I especially want to thank our student council students that really came forward with some positive things. So more to come from them, I'm sure. Back to school night is on the 21st at 6 o'clock. So I'm sure you saw some of that tonight from the high school. Ours is next week. And our welcome back dance was the first dance of the year. It's on September 29th. And that's it for me.
New staff?
What's that?
New staff.
Oh, new staff, sorry. I guess I skipped one too then.
Thanks. I did that to make you feel better.
Exactly.
I'm going. So we have 3 new hires. Joining us in our 8th grade as an 8th grade science teacher is Matt Muse. He's coming to us from research from USDA Farm Service Agency. He also taught over at Pontiac Regional High School, biology and AP Environmental Studies for 4 years. We also have a 7th grade science teacher, Brent Schuler, who is returning to the Cape. He was down in North Carolina where he went to school, and he'd been teaching down there for 2 years. He's also our cross-country and track coach this year. He was a collegiate runner, so that should be exciting for our track. We also have a special education teacher, Caitlin Baker. She's our new sub-separate therapeutic teacher. She is coming from Brockton School District, where she was working with the emotionally impaired students. One of the things that Caitlin talked about in Brockton was executive functioning, as well as accountability to assist them in improving their emotional control. So those are our 3 new hires.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, folks. Future dates to remember. October 9th is Columbus Day, no school. October 10th is Teacher in Service, no school. October 12th, the next school committee meeting, which will be held in middle school next time.
Yep.
Okay. Could I get a motion from the committee to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session?
Make the motion to adjourn go into executive session, not to return.
I'll let you vote to adjourn.
To return? Or not?
To return,
adjourn.
to return to public, right, to share any vote that we take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, and then I'll do a roll call. Aye. Jason, Mark?
Aye.
Mark? Laura? Jim? Myself? Okay. Thank you all.